This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Jesus gives to me, I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gives to me, I'm gonna let it shine. Jesus gives to me, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Okay, so we're gonna skip it, and I'll tell you what he said.
Here's your version.
Basically what the dude's talking about is that empowered people got a couple things going for them. First is, they know what they want. Oftentimes in life we know what we don't want. It's different when we know what we actually do want. The next thing that he talks about is empowered people believe that they can have what they want. Kind of simple stuff, but the next thing that he talks about is
Don't give me that look.
Like you forgot.
the next thing he talks about is not being wishy-washy. That it's not a want like, oh, it sure would be nice if this, it sure would be nice if that, it sure would be nice if this or that. It's, no, I want this. I want this. And I believe I can have this, and I'm going to go get this. And then listening to your intuition with whatever pops up that leads you in the direction of that thing that you want. And that's kind of the long and short version of what he's talking about.
Well, there's an important part in there. The one thing is not letting doubt creep in. Like, if you don't run into what you want, like, just move it aside and know that what you want is still there, and go to the next thing, and go to the next thing until you actually find it. It's not ever giving up, just that whole sense of knowing that it's there.
And the other part of that is that I just kept bumping into all over itself this week by a whole bunch of folks that I talked to, was how quick things can change once we actually have decided with certainty what we want. And and it's not to dismiss or downplay when we think we want something. I'm going to use this thing just because the tape picks it up better. For years, Mary has wanted her ex-offer back. And last week we talked about how scared she was, how scared we all were for her because he's threatening to send her to jail and all this stuff. And obviously she wants to see her kids. Obviously she doesn't want this ex-husband sending 82 emails a day talking about how bad she is and guilt trips and all this kind of thing. Obviously. And obviously she's wanted that for years. But this last week, she drew a line in the sand. She said, I'm done. And she meant it. I call it the mommy tone. That it's like when the kids are here and she's like, Parker, will you take out the trash? Parker, take out the trash. Parker, take out the trash. Turn on TV, take out the trash. Like, just nothing. It's just, Parker, take out the trash now. And the trash gets done. But we reach that own mommy tone or daddy tone within ourselves. And this week, we both drew that line in the sand and said, no, I'm done. I do not want this. I will not accept this anymore. Now I want this and this only. And we can brainstorm and think of 4 different ways of accomplishing the outcome that we want. So we're going to do all 4 ways. We're going to do this way and this way and this way and this way, and there is no, gosh, I hope, or it sure would be nice, or I really would like. There was, this is what we're going to have. We're done. And when we reached that, and we started working each of these little pathways that seemed to appear for us in our little brainstorm session, everything started to shift, and it started to shift dramatically within just 1 week's time. Before, we were told that we had to wait at least 6 months to reopen the case for child support, blah, blah, blah. Not to get into our own personal story too much, but one of the things she was guided to do was to call the state worker, and she called the state worker. Now, when the hearing was done, was August 30th. Mary was over 9 months pregnant. But a week later, or 3 weeks later actually, on the 20th, of course, Trinity showed up. Well, that's a change of change of status. So because there's a change of status, we can reopen the case right now, and we can do this right now, and we can do that right now, and we can do this and we can do that, and all these empowerment things started to show up. Hey, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. All these different ways started to show up almost out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Obviously feeling more empowered in making the decision that it was no longer, I hope, I want, someday it would be nice, into, we're done. This is what we want, this is what we're going after, this is what we're going to get, and walking down that path and then watching the universe fall in line to support us. Now this is stuff we've wanted for years, but we hadn't reached that point of saying, I want it, I believe I can have it, I believe that God in the universe supports me in having it, and if I start marching towards it, and anything that gets in my way, I just kind of give it less attention, because it would have been so easy, as it is for any of us, in any situation in our lives, to say, there's nothing I can do. It's outside of my control. The courts have this, he has that, blah, blah, blah. Poor me, I got nothing. It would have been really easy to give in to that instead of saying, no, I want this now. Now, inside of a business thing that I'm in on the side, there was a ton of chaos with this week. A ton of chaos. I don't know if it was just in the stars, the moon, what it was, but there was just a ton of chaos. And there was a whole bunch of people just, dude, I'm done. And I was one of them. Dude, I'm done. This doesn't make any sense to me. I can't get behind it. And I don't feel empowered. I feel like all of these other people and circumstances and situations and things are dictating my present and therefore dictating my future. So I'm just going to cut ties and I'm going to go do my own thing. And I prayed on it. Within 24 hours? Within 24 hours, here came all the puzzle pieces that made that whole crazy mess make sense. And when that whole crazy mess made sense, all of a sudden, it was like not only light bulbs coming on, but literally, it's that Jasuru thing. I mean, we're not talking in code here. There was 150 people joined our team. Boom, in 24 hours. That's massive.
Uh-huh.
That's massive. That changes a whole bunch of stuff. And suddenly everything, but it changed in here first. It changed with the clarity, it changed with I wasn't going to be dictated to, and I wasn't going to be squished, I was going to be empowered. And once we decided we were going to be empowered, then we knew that we needed to know the truth first. So we went on this little rabbit hunt, this thing for the truth, and we started to find it, and everybody had like 10% of the puzzle pieces. And I know in our lives, whenever something feels unempowering, it's normally because we don't have all the information. We think we do. Mary's laptop over there, her little one she got for Christmas a couple years ago. No, you bought that yourself. Anyway, her little laptop, she loves the little laptop, and the battery hasn't worked for a year. So it's always had to be plugged in. So it was a non-mobile desktop laptop. And she knew that she wanted to get it changed, and she knew it, and she knew it, and she knew it. But she knew that that battery, when we got it, was, because it was a 6-cell, blah, 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 was a couple $100, and she just didn't have it right now, got it out of the Long story short, she goes on eBay, it's $20. $20! She's like, dude, I'd have so done that a year ago if I would have just known. But the reason I didn't know is because I thought I knew. And because I thought I knew, I didn't look. And because I didn't look, I didn't know, so I based my whole decision-making process and struggled with this thing for a year because I didn't give myself the empowerment to go take a look, see what was there, and deal with the facts. To know, I want this. Something simple as a cup of coffee or a laptop battery, something as big as businesses and family and relationship and health, none of it's outside of our control. We're all God's kids. Now God, I don't see God, I don't picture God, maybe you do, I don't. But picture God saying, sorry kid, that problem's too big for me to handle. I've never pictured that. If God created everything, which he did, and there's nothing more powerful, then there's nothing that God can't overcome. And when I look at our problems in relationship to God, this huge unmovable boulder, the size of this house, the size of Mount Everest, is like a little speck of sand. It's like, yeah, I got that. Yeah, just move it out the way. But I need you to do your part. I can't want it for you. I can't make you believe that you can have it if you don't believe that you can have it. Wow. That's crazy stuff because we all know what we want. But oftentimes we've been convinced or programmed that we can't have it, whatever it was. And what I saw this week, not only through Mary and myself and business and laptops and birthdays and whatever, but through literally probably 60 people I talked to this week, empowerment kept coming up. Folks were stuck in relationships that they just were not happy with but could not change because the circumstance had grown out of their control. And a couple of these folks, I set them down and just said, why don't y'all have a talk? What is the big white elephant in the room that the two of you dance around all the time? Oh, well, it's this. Oh, well, it's that. And a matter of a short conversation changed a mountain of stuff. A mountain of stuff. I had a friend and she said that her friends didn't like her anymore. That she'd been pestering them about this thing or that thing or whatever. And they just weren't returning her phone calls. And she was very sad. Hey, Fishes. And she said, gosh, what do I do? And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, what's coming to me is just, cruise over to Walmart and buy some of those little packages like $3 chocolates and a low card, 99 cents. And just write, gosh, I don't know what I did, but I don't like where we're at. I miss you. I value you. Would you give me a call sometime? And she mailed them out. Within 24 hours, every single one of her friends called her. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I didn't mean to this. I didn't mean to that. But you were just so into this thing that you weren't willing to talk about anything else. It's like somebody who finds God or finds religion or finds network marketing or finds anything that they're so excited about that that's all they want to talk about. Or in this particular season, Democrat, Republican, that's all they want to talk about. Or whatever it is, there's just all this stuff that people get into this thing of this is what I want to talk about. And when the friends got tired of hearing about whatever it was she wanted to talk about, they're just like, I'm just going to back off for a little bit. Maybe till after election day, maybe till after the end of the month, maybe till after whatever it was. But just that simple act of empowering herself to go get some chocolates and mail them out. Let her friends know that she really cared, that she really missed them. That it wasn't about the circumstance. It wasn't about the difference of opinion. It wasn't about things that wanted to be talked about. It was about friendship. It was about love. And a simple box of chocolates changed that. And instantly friends came back together. No matter what it is that you want in your life, you can have it. Your dad says so. God says so. And when we think about it from that perspective, where God didn't put us here to test us, or for us to be frustrated, or for us to be unfulfilled, or for us to have wants and desires and feel like they're outside of our control. One of the reasons that we're here is to remember who we are and what that entails. And when we remember that we're God's kid, and remember that nothing is bigger or outside of God, and most of the things that we have given our power to only has power as long as we continue to give our power to it. Because the instant we start to take our power back from these things, that they're no longer insurmountable. They can change really, 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 really quickly. Really quickly. I've had the privilege of knowing Mary for over 6 years now, and we used to have an alternative therapies clinic, and folks would come in for hypnosis, and they do all these things. I'm not saying hypnosis is the only way, or prayer is the only way, or self-realization, but they all work together. They're all connected. And there was this lady came in, and I just don't forget her, but she said, I'm a single mom, I got 3 kids, and I'm getting evicted from my house, and I'm screwed. And Mary said, well, what can I do for you? And she said, well, I don't know, but something told me to come here, so I'm here. What can we do? And she wanted to keep telling Mary her story of how bad things were and how they had gotten that way. And Mary said, well, you can kind of going back to that quote, you can keep focused on what you don't want and get more of it, or we can change directions, look at what you do want. And she said, do you know what you want? She said, yeah. She said, I want to own my own home. I'm tired of renting, and I really need a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and I really need a blah, 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 and I really want this, this, this. But there is no way. My credit's shot, that's why I'm getting evicted from my house, and I can't afford blah, 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 whatever. All the reasons that substantiated her story. So they did some hypnosis, they changed around the belief system, and a belief system is just a repeated pattern of thought. And so they changed that repeated pattern of thought. Was it a couple days or a week when she came running back in?
I saw her a week later.
Week later, she comes running back in. She says, you're not going to believe it, I own a home. That's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, it's a blah, 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 blah. There was no cash down, there was no this, there was no that. Didn't she get paid at closing some money too? As it recalls to me, it was. But anyway, her entire situation had changed within a week. Changed dramatically within a week. The situation that last week we told you about with Mary's ex, I mean, that's kind of thing that take the wind right out of your sails. And it's pretty easy to stay stuck there. And it's pretty easy for us to all stay stuck in whatever our thing is that's just too big, that's just too powerful, that's just too out of my control. But, as I got reminded repeatedly this week, it's a choice. We have the ability to make that choice. To decide what you want. To understand that you can have what you want. And that the entire universe is pulling for you to get what you want. That it's not all on your shoulders. God's there helping you out. Guides and angels are there helping you out. And the last part is when obstacles come up, move them out the way. One of the quotes that we didn't use, but it was a cool one, said, the telephone of my mind, I keep on a constant phone call with positive, love, happy, joyous, excitement things, because that way, when negativity and fear and these things try to call, it gets a busy signal and eventually loses my number. When we're focused on the positive, when we're focused on what we do want, and we're taking the steps, whatever action, whatever intuition tells us we feel guided to do, we take the steps of action towards what we want. Continued thought, continued action, moving towards us because we feel empowered to do it, have it, become it, because we already are. The next thing, the last thing, is to not second guess. Not to think you know what you don't know. Like with the laptop battery. If we'd have kept thinking it was a $200, $150, $200 battery, we'd have probably not had one for quite some time. A $20 battery is mighty easy to get. For the lady with the house, it was part of her 5-year plan to buy that home. She did it in a week. Because once she got out of her own way, she realized that God works quick. God works really quick. When I've got my hand on the steering wheel of my life and I'm white knuckling it, it can take me a ways to get to where I'm going. When, however, I embrace the rainbows and unicorns, I've given God the wheel, saying, this is where I'm looking to get to, this is where I want to be, this is where I'm going to be. With your help, I'm going to get there as quickly as you can help me get there. You take your hand off the wheel. Sometimes when God puts a hammer down and that thing starts to take off, it gets a little spooky because it gets us out of our comfort zone. We're like, whoa, hey dude. But we can often cover a lot more ground a lot more quickly, and suddenly this illusion of this thing we call time will go out the window. If we don't anchor to, this has to take a year, this has to take 5 years, this has to take this much time. In our little online group, our little Jasuru business, it took us since February to reach 200 people. It took us 24 hours to reach 356. Amazing things can happen when we're focused on, this is what I want, this is what I want to do. God, please help me get there, and whatever action I need to take, be it a thought, a change in my routine, a change in my life, that I'll listen to it, I'll do it, and it'll turn out better than I could have anticipated. Because I'm God's kid, and I'm empowered to not only make choices, but to get results. Because I'm the child of a God who does the same thing. Because you're a child of God that does the same thing. Every single one of us. And it's not in competition for any of us. Every one of the people on this planet are God's kids and can do the same thing. When we think about the things that really make us feel alive, when we look at other people who we admire, who are doing something that really makes them feel alive, we're drawn to it. Because that spark inside us wants those flames fanned to grow. And with that, we can be the light for ourselves and for some of God's other kids. One of an interesting t-shirt that I saw, and I paid attention to it because my dad collects lighthouses, but it says that a lighthouse doesn't race around the island looking for boats.
Guaranteed.
It just stands up and shines as bright as it can. And I believe that that's the message of empowerment, that we can all be that lighthouse. Not only getting the benefit of it for ourselves, but more importantly, being that beacon for other folks who are struggling with what we used to struggle with, or what we're currently struggling with when we get on the other side of it. Nobody understands a cancer survivor like a cancer survivor, a POW camp survivor like a POW camp survivor, so no matter what we're struggling with, when we get on the other side of it, because we allow ourselves to be empowered, say, this is what I want, I'm going to get it with God's help, and I'm going to get it, hopefully, more quickly than I thought possible, and more easily than I thought possible, because God is that kind of powerful. That's a message that can shine out through us to every other one of God's kids. And the planet gets better with each one. We become a nation of lighthouses. We become a world of lighthouses. Thank you. I'll turn the time over to